Hi there, guys. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kieran and I'm a film composer and musician based in Cardiff, South Wales. So, over the last 8 to 10 months, I've been working on quite a few different projects, ranging from film commissions to releasing my own kind of music as a solo artist. So, I wanted to create a short video that kind of sums up what these projects were, why I set out to create them, and kind of the outcome and the research that went into putting these projects together. So, first up, I'd like to talk about the kind of main project that I've spent the last kind of 6 to 8 months working on, and that's the release of my album, What We'll Miss Most, which is out on 8th of February. So this was a really interesting project that I set myself to work on, and I knew from the very beginning it was going to be quite different from some of the stuff I've released in the past as a solo artist. Being, a film composer, I wanted to kind of be able to retain certain techniques and an understanding that allowed it to be cohesive within the kind of film soundtrack territory. So principles such as underscore, knowing when at times certain tracks were just meant to support kind of the overall story and narrative, as opposed to other times where I wanted the music to be really dynamic and kind of shine through and hit that kind of top of the dynamic. So it was kind of those theories that also really allowed me to look at where the kind of the audience was for this type of music and kind of the sector in which I wanted to release the music to. So a lot of notable kind of influences for this album were people like Olafur Arnalds and Niels Frahm, whose work I really appreciate from not only a musical point of view but also visual. I find that type of music extremely visual and vivid. So that's an influence that I wanted to bring into this piece of work. And so, looking at the audience and the target market, people who, within the neoclassical community and kind of contemporary classical work, but also the release is very much targeted at kind of the film sector. So, directors, editors, cinematographers, music supervisors, and also kind of looking into, production music and library music and sync opportunities. So that kind of just reinstates the importance of wanting it to kind of be able to stand on its own as an orchestral release, but also be cohesive with the film genre, to kind of reinstate that kind of message. And something else I did to kind of reinforce that notion is that I knew I wanted to create quite a lot of visual content for the album. As my background is a film composer, I'm used to writing to picture and writing to imagery and things that support scenes and characters, so that's something I really wanted to bring onto this project. I created a lot of visual content for certain tracks that were posted to my socials, and very much kind of a lot of it was very social realist, so I used a lot of lighting techniques and kind of the blue hour grade, which fitted really nicely with kind of the narrative of the album. And the narrative of the album was another thing really important, so that really allowed me to kind of piece together the arrangement of the stuff. So the album was very much meant to kind of some feelings of reflection and imagery of the coasts and tales from the sea, which really helped in piecing together a lot of kind of organic soundscapes that I created and used as the backdrop to a lot of pieces. But yeah, to sum up the album and its release, I think it's been really important to kind of retain a lot of techniques I've learned from doing film composition, and as I stated, that really allowed me to kind of look into the sector in which I wanted this album to be released. It's being displayed as portfolio work for myself as well on my website, which we'll get into a little bit later, kind of about the importance of being a freelancer and marketing your work in an authentic way. But yeah, to sum up, it's been a really great project to work on. I'm happy that it's done and it's out, because I spent a lot of time mixing and writing and rewriting certain stuff, but it's been a fantastic project to work on. So the second project that I've been working on is doing a documentary / vlog of the feature film that I'm working on in pre-production. Now, originally the idea was going to be a YouTube kind of tutorial / vlog on a behind the scenes process of me scoring a feature film. However, due to COVID and kind of all the different lockdowns we've had, the film was pushed back so much that I had to kind of reshape my idea, but I knew I still wanted to create this type of content. So I reframed it to be looking at how to work on a film in pre-production and all the stuff you can expect to run into as a composer. And what was quite important to hold on to was that this was a piece with the audience were composers, much like myself, operating at kind of an independent level. and kind of chronicling a lot of the stuff that I myself will work on during pre-production and kind of stuff that I need to do. So looking at things like project templates, setting up cue sheets, and just other kind of general stuff like reading scripts and going through spotting sessions and that type of thing. So as I said, it was important to be able to deliver this content to other composers and in a kind of language that was cohesive to them. So I talked about kind of very much production related stuff. I spoke about things like you would ask your director for writing demos, so looking at kind of mood boards, treatments, things like that, which can help you piece together the style of the music. And also, as I said, setting up project templates and stuff, which can really set you off on a good path, especially in pre-production when you need to write demos for the directors and you haven't even seen anything yet. This was a really good project to work on because I really enjoy making kind of visual content and doing almost tutorial-esque stuff, because I actually think I end up learning a lot as well. I taught guitar for a very long time, and I found that I would end up learning sometimes just as much as the people I'm teaching, just because when you say things out loud to yourself, it lets you think about really think about what you're talking about, and that can lead to some further research and a further understanding on what it is you're trying to do. So this was a really great project to work on. I set this YouTube channel up about a year ago with the kind of target in mind of making content such as like this, and kind of when I had this commission come in, I thought it would be a really, really great time to be able to make a piece like this that was practical but also vital with some of its information that could really help composers operating at the freelance level. And then lastly, to tie all this together, the album release and these bits of kind of content I'm making, one thing I really spent a lot of time in designing and kind of structuring was the website. And the reason why I did this is because I needed something to be able to house all these materials, but in an ergonomic and kind of authentic way. I did some research into kind of people's attention spans on kind of creative websites and things like that, and that kind of helped formulate how I'm structuring a lot of the pages. So for example, with my homepage, immediately you're hit with my 2 sets of composer reels. Now initially when I first created my website and first started film composing, I just had one big reel that was like 5 minutes long, and it kind of incorporated all different genres: comedy, drama, thriller, horror, which was great, very eclectic. But for a client who's in a rush and is just trying to find out whether someone can do this job, it's not it doesn't show you in the best light, I think. So that's why I chose and carefully kind of curated different clips from different short films and feature films I've worked on and organized them into genres. And that, I think, works best for directors. For example, if I'm pitching for a horror film, I can send them directly to one reel, my horror and thriller reel, which I guarantee is going to be much better fitting than my drama and commercial reel. So and these are all kind of practices you just learn through working in this field, I think. But definitely a good tip to any freelance composers out there, I think, is splitting up your reels. And then kind of stemming from that, I've got a section on my album release and kind of its own links to its own separate pages where I've got some other content and a lot of stuff I've been working on. And then from there, it's just kind of got a bit more information about myself, what I'm working on, news and projects. And then from there, it very much follows kind of your typical website design, but I wanted it to be quite clinical. I didn't want to have lots of random bits of content. I wanted it to be very structured, but also to be creative. That's what I am as a musician, and that's what the people viewing the websites are. They're creative, so it's got to have a little bit of flair, but also showcase who I am in a very straightforward and to the point way. So as I said, this was a very, very important thing for me to work on and to make sure that I got right, to be able to kind of store all these materials that I'm working on. I did some work research into other composers' websites, operating at my level, but also some higher, and taking influence from that and how they kind of structure their work, and kind of how they structure, their marketing techniques, how they're displaying their work, and all that was really, really beneficial in me piecing together my website. So, I think to conclude the video, those are basically the main 3 things that I've been working on. It's been a really, really busy 8 to 10 months, but it's been fantastic. and I'm really pleased the album's out there, that YouTube documentary's out there, and the website that I've been working on, just as much as the rest of them, I feel is in a really good place that kind of can house all these materials and represent them into the public domain in the best way possible. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed and got some kind of insight into who I am and what I've been doing, and I'm looking forward to this year and seeing what comes next.